You can't lead by example without anger. Healing your inner body and healing the relationship with your anger is basically the same thing, because it's part of yourselves that is frozen in the past but longing to be held right here, right now. Your inner child healing may not be all fluffy because it may be raging, and it's your turn to reparent your younger self through sitting in the fire with your anger. Kids who can't be angry become adults who can't be authentic, because suppressing your anger means to suppress your aliveness. When you explore the relationship between anger, authenticity, and your inner child, you will realize that joy, peace, and love are always taken away whenever you become angry. Most people learn at young age that reason ends when certain emotions are present, like anger, because it can lead to freedom of expression as well as conflict and confrontation, which threatens most children as it exposes them to rejection, isolation, or punishment for speaking their truth, and the authoritative figures can't accept their reality. Abandonment is a root cause, because it means being ignored when you needed closeness, silence when you needed to be heard, and threatened when you needed safety by the very same people you thought you trusted. Fear of conflict or confrontation leads to suppression of emotions. So in order to avoid the threat of rejection, children mask themselves with niceness to fit in and stay in that connection or in that environment. If you suppress your emotions in order to stay in a relationship or environment, your nervous system will perceive unsafety, which is a state of stress, as normal. The unresolved stress of your childhood gets carried into adulthood, where it manifests as toxic shame and unauthenticity. Reclaiming your anger means reclaiming your authenticity. Let your healing become a practice of radical emotional acceptance. Authenticity means expanding your capacity to feel without shame. Celebrating your emotional complexity creates unshakable inner truth. Your authenticity, it's a gift to your inner child, because you create a safe experience within yourself that you were never allowed. Being authentic can be a brutal process, because of a young age we cut off emotions and behaviors that were unacceptable from our environments. We are not expressing our anger in order to maintain peace in the family, school, jobs, or any other environments. This means that while our feelings are pushed away, we start wearing a mask instead of making us acceptable, which creates conformity to a world that cannot stand our anger or sadness. This is a false selfie. It means that part of you chose unauthenticity because being authentic was threatening, but your true self, subconscious, is carrying all those emotions. It doesn't disappear. It resides in the body, your physical subconscious, where it manifests as tension, disease, and destructive patterns, which in other words means you are raging, trying to cope with it, but you don't even know it, although it's driving your life. Feelings that are suppressed in childhood create problems in adulthood. Authenticity is a brutal process because it's confrontation with the parts of you that want to be nice, but the reality is different from your feelings. It's a path full of ego deaths. For most spiritual people, that reveals their anger management. That's because their energy is not matching their values they created in order to keep them sound and safe within. Somatic work is crucial as the body carries the unexpressed anger, and those trapped emotions can only be released through body. So you stop wearing a mask to embody the full spectrum of emotions. If anger is not allowed, you will never feel alive again. Seeing healing as becoming calm may be the most dangerous misconception you live by, because the desperate need to stay regulated can be a form of dissociation from what's alive in your emotional dysregulation. Your aliveness lives in the same place as your anger. Both require the willingness to disrupt the false peace that comes from staying safe in their comfort, but not saying that's really what's really happening, because they are numb, can't feel anything anymore. Every time you were told to calm down, be nice, or don't be so intense, you learn that your natural emotional guiding responses to injustice were wrong. You learn that keeping others comfortable lying to you was more important than honoring what was truth for you. Speaking your truth requires the same fierce energy that drives healthy aggression. Having a balance between the feminine and masculine energies that drives you demand that you value inner knowing more than external validation, approval, or comfort. The bigger the desire to be peaceful, the bigger the danger of losing touch with aliveness, logic, and intuition. If your definition of wholeness doesn't include anger, you will always remain empty and broken. Healing doesn't mean being less angry, but becoming conscious of its power to make your friend. So you master yourself and lead by example. Healing isn't about staying calm, but staying in connection with what's alive in you. Direct message me, master yourself, to join the program. A man knows that real power comes from within. It's a quiet but real strength, as it moves in silence with weight and measure, meaning and purpose, because as a boy he wasted his space, time, energy and intelligence chasing pleasures, distractions and things outside of his control that kept him in self-doubt, worried and fearful about the past or anxious about the future. But now as a man he's focused on building from inside out every single day. A real man don't need to prove himself to no one, as he's focused on improving and developing his qualities, values and principles by embodying them, and lead by example, practicing what he preaches, because he's a man of his word. And he won't waste energy convincing anyone, as his actions speak louder than words thrown at the wind to anyone that is determined to question his actions and misunderstand his intentions due to their level of perception and ego mindset.